This video will help you to file your return in case you are a civil servant. Now, Kenya operates a self-assessment tax regime where an individual or business voluntarily declares the income received during the year and the tax liability that results from this income. During the manual days, it was an uphill task for KRA to know who has filed returns and who has not. This is how the form used to look like. A manual form had to be filled. We can see that this is a form of 1994, and every other detail had to be given. And you can see the P9. This is the P9. This is the P9 form, and the P9 form used to be filled largely as we do it today. You can see the pay until we have the total tax deducted. But today KRA has invested in analytical tools that can easily give out reports of who has filed returns and who has not. And to add to this, it also checks the accuracy. And that's the essence of iTax and filing the returns online as opposed to file return as the olden days. Now this is a sample of P9 given by KRA. This is the recommended presentation of the P9, but there are times when employers will present their P9s in this manner, and therefore it becomes a bit challenging to file your returns because all the columns have not been clearly given out as recommended or as shown in this other P9. This P9 only has the date, the pay. The pay auto is the amount of tax deducted, and the relief, and therefore the information is a bit limited, but there is a way we can go around this and make sure that at the end of the day we have all the data that we want and we can file our return on the iTax. Now what we can do, my recommendation would be for us to somehow generate our own P9 so that we can be able to file our own return. Now what you need to do, you can open your Excel sheet, and once it is open, we will try to populate it and try to fix it exactly as the other P9s look like. You can follow this. These are the fields that are mostly required. The gross pay, you can even begin just anywhere. Type gross pay. That is a section where we will enter our total. Remember, we will enter the gross pay without computing for the whole year, just the totals. Another section is allowances and benefits from employment other than car and housing. Allowances and benefits. Allowances and benefits from employment. Employment other than car and housing. The section can even wrap text so that or just leave it like that. Sure, that is okay. Allowances and benefits other than car and housing. We are trying to generate our own P9. Not necessarily generating our own P9, but trying to fill these sections that are missing on this other P9 that is seen here. Because I'm sure that you have a friend you know who needs such help, or your spouse, or a neighbor. This will help because the P9 ideally should look like this, because this is a sample from KRA, and there are times when our P9s come in this manner, and therefore what we are trying to do, we are trying to build a P9 to look almost exactly like this. Net value of housing, net value of housing, there. All right, net value of housing. Because this is too long, perhaps we can wrap text so that we can clearly see all the sections. Now after net value of housing, we are moving to total gross pay. Total gross pay. That is okay. All these sections have been entered correctly. Total gross pay. Let's continue. What we need to enter here is the defined pension contribution, defined pension contribution, wrap text. okay. Doesn't have to be so accurate because this is just for ourselves. Defined pension contribution. We can also see taxable salary. This is also an important taxable salary. That is okay. That is done. Taxable salary. We also need to enter this column: tax payable on taxable salary. Tax payable on taxable salary. That is okay. Wrapped. It is okay. Tax payable on taxable salary. In case you have an insurance relief, slightly insurance relief, then personal relief, personal relief. Right. After personal relief, we have amount of tax deducted, which is pay as you earn. Right. Now, with all these sections filled out, what we need to now fill in other sections here, we need to just enter the totals, and once this is done, we will be in a position to easily fill out the form on iTax. Now, what is our gross pay? Remember, this is our P9. Gross pay is 845 034. 845 034. Remember, you can make this column to be form of accounting so that you can have the commas and separated into thousands. Gross pay is right there. The gross pay, can make this bold so that makes it slightly different. The gross pay is right there. Allowances and benefits other than car and housing, we can clearly see that it is not there, therefore put a 0. Net value of housing, it is also not there. You can also put a 0 on that. Total gross pay, it's normally gross pay plus allowances and benefits from employment other than count housing. Net value of housing, you can insert a formula, or you can do it manually, is equals to the summation, all the way from this point to this point. I'm not making it any complicated because what I'm trying to say, just need to add what is on this column, what is on this column, and what is on this column to be a total on this column. Remember, it is sum. Highlight all this section to this point and press enter. You have your total. Defined pension contribution. The defined pension contribution is right here. You can see that our pension is 0, and therefore all you need to do is type a 0. Taxable salary. Now, the taxable salary is normally the total gross pay minus the pension contribution, and therefore is equals to the total gross pay minus the pension contribution. It will remain the same because there is no pension contribution, and therefore this is the taxable salary. Now the question is, what is the tax payable on taxable salary? In this case, we can only see the payee as the pay auto, and we do not have these other sections. Personal relief, we do not have, in case you have an insurance relief. Tax payable on taxable salary. Now when you get to this point, we have a way of going around this and making sure that once you have the taxable salary, we can be able to calculate and find out what is our tax payable on taxable salary. Now what you need to do, head over to your browser. Now once you have this, what we need to search is for a software called AREN. AREN, A-R-E-N. Just search for AREN, A-R-E-N, and press enter and search. Now you can see it comes as a top search, AREN software. Click on AREN software. Once you have this, come to calculators. Remember, search for AREN software, come to calculators. You can see we have several calculators: loan repayment, payee, gross pay, and net pay. And what do you think we're looking for? Other calculators? No, we're looking for payee, pay as you earn, and therefore just click on payee. Now it will give you this calculator. You'll find yours on 2020. What you need to do is to change this from 2020 to 2019, because we're in the year 2020. We are filing for the year 2019. This is a handy calculator because it can help you to calculate your payee as far as 2015. All right, the number of periods, I'm sure most of you will find it as 1 what we need to do, because we are filing for the entire year, we will change this to 12 months, meaning that it is the entire year. Now this is the taxable pay. Remember the taxable pay, it is right here, which is 845034. Type it in here, 845034.00. So 845034. Check on your P9 in case you have any insurance relief. If there is no insurance relief, leave this section as a 0. You can either choose to show workings or not, but in this case we are not interested in the working. We want to find the final answer. Make sure that you have 2019, the number of periods 12 months. The taxable pay should match exactly as it appears on the P9 that we are trying to generate. Taxable salary 845,034, 845,034. Insurance relief, in this case we have said from the P9 that we do not have an insurance relief. We only have monthly pay relief, the monthly relief from KRA. Alright, what you need to do, click on calculate. So calculate, there you go, it will give you the results. We can see from the calculator, this is the pay calculator. The year is 2019. The pay period is 12 months. Taxable pay 845,034. Now you can see payee before relief. Now this is important to know. Personal relief, it's right here. Insurance relief, remember it's a 0, and the payee due is 165,385. And therefore now we are going back to our Excel sheet that we are trying to build up to match the P9. Tax payable on taxable salary, it is payee before relief, 182,281. 182,281.30. Insurance relief, let me see insurance relief. Remember we had no insurance relief. There is a 0. Personal relief. Personal relief, where is the personal relief? It's right here, 16,896. 16,896. There we go. Payee. Payee is 385,385.30. 165,385.30. And therefore we can see that all the sections have now been filled thanks to the help of RN calculator. And therefore you can compare this P9 with this P9 that has been created by yourself. You can now see that the amount of tax deducted, 165,385.80, matches the payee 165,385.30. On this section we have a 0.30. On this section we have a 0.80, which is about 50 cents difference. That is not so much, it can be ignored. In case you do not feel like converting this Excel sheet into PDF, write out these values and make sure they are somewhere where you can see. You can come to view, page break, and make sure that this is completely pulled to the end. Have you seen what I've done? I'll put the cursor right there and pull the dotted line all the way to the end. Come back to the normal view. I've also noticed that I need to put borders so that I can clearly see the demarcation of the sections. And I will say I need all borders. Once that is done, I will say that I want now to save again. Save as. I will say I want it to go to the desktop, and I will call it my new P9. And remember, it should be on PDF, and then save. Alright, you can see that we now have all the sections all the way from the gross pay to payee. It's ready now, and therefore all you need to do, you head over to your browser, whatever browser you're using, search for iTax. We will take iTax KRA. Enter your ID A00. Most of the time the pin begins with an A00. And click on continue. Enter your password and go through the security stamp question. 105 minus 5 is 100, and click on login. Once you're logged in, place the pointer right on returns. A drop down will appear. Click on file return. Yes, we have said place the pointer on returns and click on file return. Click on file return, because what you want to do is to file return. Once you're done with that, this will appear, and all fields marked with asterisks are mandatory, and therefore it's mandatory for us to fill this section. We need to select our tax obligation. We have resident individual, non-resident individual, and rent income. For our case, it's resident individual. Click on resident individual and next. Once this is done, you have this menu appearing. What you need to do, you need to download the Excel sheet. Therefore, you click there. Something will be downloaded. And once that is done, you open. And therefore, you need WinRAR or any other software that helps to open the zipped file. This is the Excel that we are interested in, and therefore all you need to do is to double click to open the Excel sheet. It's opening, and once it opens, you'll be able to see the fields where you're supposed to fill all the parts that are required based on the information given in the P9. We can see that we now only have the iTax Excel sheet running, and on this side we now have it as a PDF file, the new P9. Therefore, enable editing. We also need to enable content. Now what I need to do is to enter my personal identification number. All right. The type of return, it is original. The return period, remember we are following the format day, month, year. And therefore, it's from the 1st of January 2019. Return period 2 to, you need to click at least twice. You click once, it computes, and then you click again to the 31st of December 2019. This is the end of the year. Now, once you have that done, you have all these other questions, and because now, remember, we don't have an insurance relief, and basically what we have is employment income, all these other sections will be left as no. What you need to do now is to come to employment income. Remember, you can click on next, or you can come to this tab. Now, you need to enter the PIN of the employer. Remember, we had that original, that other P9. Where is the employer's PIN? The employer is here, P051. You can write it somewhere so that it's easy to transfer. P051 098084N. Name of the employer, this is my employer. Gross pay, yes, this is where the generated P9 will help us. My new P9, remember we had that other P9 that we have tried to make it look almost like the recommended P9. My new P9 is right there. Therefore, let me enter the gross pay. Remember, gross pay is right here, 845,034. And therefore, you can clearly see that it is easy to switch between tabs, between an Excel sheet and a PDF, as opposed to an Excel sheet and an Excel sheet. If I was running the other Excel sheet, this back and forth movement would have been hindered. But now I can easily move between the PDF and the Excel sheet. Allowances and benefits from employment other than kind housing. Allowances and benefits other than kind housing. You can see this is 0. Remember, nothing was entered there. Net value of housing, remember it's also 0. Pension, if in excess of 300,000, where is my pension? Pension is not in excess of 300,000, and therefore I'll enter 0. Alright, that section is done. Go all the way to the end of the sheet and click on next. Alright, make sure that the window is moved completely to the end, to the extreme left, and to the top, to make sure that you can see this cell as A3. Now, PIN of employer, again, we need to fill this. We remember we had entered it initially, and therefore you don't need to enter it again. You can still find it on this drop down, but in case you still want to type, you can still type in there. You have the PIN of the employer. That is the employer. You can either write it in full or in abbreviation. Taxable salary. Now what you need to do come back to your generated P9. Taxable salary 845,034. 845,034. That is a taxable salary. Tax payable on taxable salary. Where is that tax payable on taxable salary? Remember, RN helped us to find this figure. 182, 281, 281.30 in this case. Amount of tax deducted, which is the payee, 165, 385.30. Click out. You can clearly see the 16,896. The amount should be the same as the personal relief, 16,896, and therefore to this end I am sure that everything is progressing on okay. Come to the end of the window and click on next. This section on the QIT payment credits, we do not need to fill anything, and therefore skip it. In case you have any challenges that demands you to fill this section, while validating it will bring you back to this section. Alright, let's now move to the tax computation. You can click on this tab, or while still there, you can click on next. We are required to fill defined pension contribution. On the new P9, the generated P9, we can always define pension contribution right here. Defined pension contribution, it's a 0, and therefore leave that as a 0. Don't leave it blank, just write a 0. Let's move on. We also are required to enter the personal relief. Personal relief 16,896. 16,896, and just click out or press enter, whichever. A computation will be done, and therefore you can see that everything has been done well, and we can see that we have a 0.70, which is very close to 0, perhaps because of the rounding off. The 30, the 80 brings a difference here. Therefore, if you so desire, we can still change this from 30 to 80, so that it gives us exactly 0. Let's see what will happen if we choose to stick with what is on the P9. Come to the tax computation. You can see that the amount has gone down to 0.20, which is okay, almost 0. Now what you need to do is to click on validate, and it will check the Excel sheet to see if there are any errors. At this point is where we emphasize that in case you have a positive figure on this section, if in case you have a positive figure here, please do not click on validate. In case you have a 0, 0, yes, a 0 is okay. In case you have a negative, it's okay, but make sure it's not a very big negative figure, just a reasonable negative figure. And the negative comes because of the difference in the spread of the income across the months in the course of the year. Yes, you can now see that you have a message that sheets are ready to be uploaded. Do you want to generate an upload file? And this will be yes. Now remember, we have said in case you have a positive figure here, please do not proceed filing. In case you have a 0, yes, click on validate. In case you have a negative that is not so big, continue. In this case, I will say yes. And I'll be told that now you will find a zip file in the documents at this time and in this place, and that is okay. And I'm sure in case you have a negative figure here, you'll be prompted to enter your bank details. Please go on and enter the bank details, and you can check on other videos on how to enter the bank details, and it will be easy. Once you do that, click on validate, and and you proceed to uploading the sheet. Now what we need to do, you need to go back to the browser. You remember, now here you click, since all these other places you have selected that it's an original, this is the return period. You remember it's from 1st January 2019 to 31st December 2019, and therefore what you need to do is to choose a file for upload. Now you have this window, you come to your documents, and you look for the zipped file. It's a zip file. It's right here. Remember, it's the 8th of May 2020. This is the time, and this is my pin. I will click on open. Yes, I will click on the file and click on open, and it is attached. You can see that something has been attached. What you need to do is click on I agree to the terms and conditions and submit. And the question is, do you want to upload the form? I'll say okay. And there we go. It will work. And wow, we are done. The filing has gone through. Would you like to participate in a survey? Perhaps let me say yes and see how it comes about. It's opening. The survey from KRA. How much time does it take for you to prepare and submit income tax resident individual return? I'll say it's less than 30 minutes, or if it took you 30 minutes or 2 hours or 4 hours or more than 8 hours, kindly specify. How would you rate your overall experience with the iTax portal? My experience has been excellent. I do not know about you. It's fair, good, poor, very good. Kindly feel free to participate on the survey and be honest about your remarks. And therefore, you can give a feedback to KRA. I can say something to KRA. You can type whatever. If you have a comment, you have a suggestion, you want to pass some communication, it's open for you to. Right. My comment to them is that this is an excellent portal, and I submit the survey. Once I do that, I'll be done with this page. You can close it, and here you can see that you have a chance of downloading your return slip. Now, also, the return slip has been sent to my mail. If I check my inbox, I can see that I have received a mail from admin iTax, and it's an acknowledgement of income tax resident individual return for the period 1st January 2019 to 31st December 2019. My receipt is right here, and I am now sure that my filing has gone through. What I need to do, I can either download it here or I still have it here, and therefore it means I am sure to get it again. What I can do now, I just need to log out so that I don't leave my account running, and there I go. It's logged out. I'm sure now it's possible for you to file return for yourself. In case of any question or any inquiry, kindly feel free to contact us. We'll come in handy to help. Thank you. I hope this has helped.